Morning. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to another sunrise meeting. We typically stand. I know those online are sitting, maybe laying up in bed. But to kick off the meeting, let me invite Director Pat to do the invocation.
Good morning. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come thank you for allowing us to come here one more time. We thank you for bringing us safe, Father God. We thank you for those who are still in bed and those who are sitting up watching. And we ask that this meeting be productive and you get all the other. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Director Patrick. And to do the loyal toast, Director Akeisha, who I believe is online.
Good morning, fellow to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
To the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you. You may be seated. And to say very, very, very warm welcome to everyone online and in the room. I know we have some visitors this morning, and I won't take away the Secretary's responsibility. He's multitasking this morning. He's at the control, trying to admit persons to the room. Perhaps we should have a few co-hosts to help us with that as you welcome our guests. So if you're visiting, feel free to open your mic and introduce yourself as well in the event that we miss you online. And so let's hear it for Secretary Duran. Please give him a round of applause.
One of them fellow guests, online, virtual, and in the room. I see we have no guests in the room. Terrence that I've known since I joined the club. You see some new faces now. John. So online, I see we have Ms. Kenya Long. Please open your mic.
So that's yes, so Rotarian Bentley and myself. Welcome. Did I say Dr. Longley?
I also see a Deidre Raymond.
Good morning. This is Leah Carla. Deidre is my guest this morning. Welcome, Deidre.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning.
I see a Hansi Kemp. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, Hansi, welcome. That's my guest. Oh, that's my guest. When did you invite?
Good morning. This is Kenya Longley. Sorry, I was having little issues just now, but good morning to you all.
So I believe that is everyone. If I would have missed anyone, please open your mic now and speak or forever hold the peace.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome Dr. Teresa Clark. She's my client. She's my guest, but she's also the speaker, so she'll be officially introduced later.
Good morning, everyone. My daughter, Alea Evans, is on the line. Alea, thank you for connecting this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My guest, Dr. Rebecca Flowers, is online. She's trying to put her name next to the phone. Marsha.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Spain, for inviting me.
Hi, good morning. My name is Johansi Kemp, and I was invited by Dr. Cartwright.
Okay, great. Thank you, Secretary Kemi. Duran. I was saying Secretary Kemi because I believe I admitted Secretary Kemi to the room earlier. Are you joining us from Switzerland? Are you here in the Bahamas? Welcome, Past Secretary Kemi. I hope you enjoy the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm at work, so I have muted mic.
I'm sorry?
I said, good morning, everyone. I'm at work, so unfortunately I have my mic muted.
Okay, all right, no problem. Welcome. Great seeing you. We have a hot topic this morning. Oh, you have a question? I'm sorry? No, she's not in yet. Yes, your guest Okay, thank you. So our hot topic this morning is Water and Sanitation Month, and that's the theme, Rotary's theme for this month. I know you're seeing on the screen, Dr. Clark is already sharing her screen, because we have a talk on Alzheimer's, which is also a focus for District 7020. But we didn't want to not put water and sanitation in the spotlight. So I have a provocative question this morning. Can you drink the water from the tap?
Yes.
Yes. You think you can drink the water from the tap? Yes. All right. All right. So
Yes.
drink it. You think it's better than the bottled water? Let me see your hands. And if you're online, put yes in the chat. Only 2 people in the room said, yeah, four people say it's better than the bottled water. Yes. And so I want to disturb you a little bit this morning on water and sanitation. So I've invited, in fact, Dr. Higgs, who is a member of the club, is responsible for this one, because I've invited him to engage us in this topic. But he mentioned that, yes. So he mentioned that Ms. Longley is an expert in this area and actually did a dissertation on the water sanitation in the Bahamas. She's online and she's just going to interact with us for about 2 or 3 minutes. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
So the consensus, I'm not sure what's online, maybe you're able to gauge the room online, but in the room there, the majority said the water is fit for consumption. So over to you.
So when we look at water, again, my name is Dr. Kenya Longley. My focus is natural resource conservation with emphasis on water quality. I did lakes and rivers in Florida, but I did a little bit of research in the Bahamas on the water quality. Here we have, when we talk about water, we talk about 2 types of water. We talk about the municipal water, and that comes from like your water and sewage, or your other private water entities like the Nassau Development, I think then it's Paradise Island Utility, Grand Bahama Utility, etc. And so they're charged with producing water, potable water for Bahamians. Their water goes through the filtration, desalination, the reverse osmosis, and chlorination processes. And they are charged with meeting the standards of the international standards and the local standards to bring their water up to the level of consumption. So from what we know, or from what we understand, their purpose is, we know that our water is now drinkable, that water in particular. But we still have people in the Bahamas, or people in Nassau, well, across the Bahamas, but particularly in Nassau, because that's where a lot of contamination is, because we have an abundance of people here and vehicles and etc. And so when we look at groundwater usage from people with small, shallow wells, private wells that bring in their own water to their homes, we notice that there's a risk associated with that, because they are responsible for maintaining their water system. They're responsible for making sure the water quality is in order. And a lot of people don't do that with private wells. And so therefore, we would say our drinking water from the municipal point is drinkable, but we can't speak for the groundwater people that use their private wells, because the contamination can come from anywhere, come from vehicles. If you live next to a receptacle outlet, or maybe you might live next to a garage or something of the sort, a mechanic garage. So there's a lot of different types of pollutants, nutrients, pathogens that may intercept into your water. Also, our groundwater or our water table is only 5 feet below the water surface, which doesn't allow for much time for infiltration and natural attenuation of the groundwater. And so you may not get the best quality of water using your groundwater, especially in particular in Nassau, people living in Nassau. So generally speaking, our municipal water is drinkable if they follow their proper protocols and their standards and regulations. But I can't speak for the groundwater for private use.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Longley. I appreciate that. That was our hot topic for this morning. If you're getting your water, private well, then you may want to ensure that you get that water tested and treated. I want to thank you again, Dr. Longley, for taking time out. I know you're on your way to dropping your kids to school, so thank you for participating in our hot topic this morning.
Thank you for having me, and I may stay on a little longer.
Okay. All right, so stay tuned for the hot topic for next week. Let me now invite Tamara, our chair, to recognize anniversaries, birthdays, or anniversaries.
Good morning, President Donette. This is quick because we have no birthdays or anniversary celebrations this week. So, like everybody,
New York Times, vendor and president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Legal Analyst, Maya Wiley joins us.
Sorry, mute. All right, guys, keep your mics muted so we can hear. Okay, someone was speaking?
President, there are no birthday and anniversary celebrations this week. I guess everybody will be now gearing up for Easter and their travels during that time.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, and now for a quick joke from the side, after which I'll invite Director Yvonne to introduce our guest speaker. Keith?
All right, good morning, fellow Rotarians and guests. Hope everyone is doing well today. All right, so the joke of the day is, why did the bike fall over?
Why did the what?
Why did the bike fall over?
That sounds like a trivia.
No training wheel.
So the bike fell over because it was too tired.
Yeah, your jokes should be so funny that people are going into their purses and their wallets and paying us some money. So I can Thanks to our Serge, and so you're applying a blanket fine. What's the fine this morning?
Okay, and I'll also like to fine Kemi Jones for drinking tap water. So that's a $3 fine.
Yeah, but he's drinking the good water. I haven't drank it myself.
All the fines need to go aside.
Yes. Who? Yeah, I don't know. Saj got engaged, and so. All right, so Saj, there's a $10 fine for you for not being actually in the room. I'll now invite PAG, just before you do the intro, let's hear what the raffle is this morning. PAG, Karen, I forgot to do that announcement.
Thank you, President. I would also like to make an announcement, please.
Okay. I was gonna take the announcements after this.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So courtesy of the yellow team this morning, we have a very beautifully wrapped turquoise gift card for John Bull in the amount of $100. I'm sure that each of us could put that to very good use. So tickets, 5, 3 for 10. If you're online, please put it in the chat. We'll make sure that your ticket gets in the basket. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All
right, so we'll take the announcements right after we have Dr. Clark, and so I'll now invite Director Yvonne to introduce our guest speaker.
Okay, good morning, fellow Rotarians. Again, it gives me pleasure to introduce Dr. Teresa Clark, who was a childhood friend and still remains a friend today. Teresa Clark, a native of Nassau, Bahamas, and presently a physician scientist, is employed as a psychometric clinical rater at Renstar Medical Research in the neurological division. Renstar Medical Research is a site located in North Central Florida, specializing in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases. A graduate of Cornell Medical School, Dr. Clark is a surgically trained physician assistant with an early career aspiration of combining clinical research with medicine. She obtained a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, equivalent to Doctor of Medicine, MBBS, MD, followed by a PhD in Biomedical Science from the University of Science, Arts, and Technology of Montserrat in 2014. With over 20 years of medical experience and knowledge, Dr. Clark has worked in various aspects of surgical and medical settings to include urology, oncology, and endocrinology. She's the CEO of the East Hill Medical Clinic in North Carolina for several years. She was the CEO of East Medical Clinic in North Carolina for several years. Her focus was treating the health and wellness of patients diagnosed with diabetes, mellitus type 2. Further studies lead to PhD theses, work on the correlation of diabetes in Alzheimer's patients. Dr. Clark is a member of the Free Clinics of America Immunology Society, American Society of Bariatric Physicians, and she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Please, let's welcome Dr. Teresa Clark.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Also see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. It's just a pleasure to be with you this morning. Kind of early for me, so bear with me. I'm still trying to wake up. So this morning, I just want to share, bring some more awareness and education to you. So the topic is entitled Alzheimer's 101. So you may ask, will there be a test at the end? Who knows? So I would like to share with you so that at the end of the topic, you would know the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia. What are some of the risk factors? Once you have the disease, now what? May go through some of the stages. Definitely going to touch on the treatment of the symptoms, and to share with you some of the work that I'm doing now in Alzheimer's clinical research. Calla. I don't know how much time I have, Yvonne, so I'm going to go through quickly. Normally it takes, 40 minutes or so, but I'm going to go through quickly, much faster than I would on a normal basis. All right, so what's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? Normally you would hear these words that's used, interchangeably, of them being the same thing. Dementia and Alzheimer's are not the same thing. If you were to take away anything from this presentation, is to know that dementia and Alzheimer's are not the same thing. Alzheimer's is a disease, is a progressive disease actually, that slows and destroys the memory and the thinking of individuals. To compare to that of dementia, dementia is a set of symptoms that includes loss of memory, understanding, and judgment. You want to see dementia as the umbrella, all right? And this umbrella is just a range of symptoms that affect cognitive impairment. If you were to change that word dementia and put cancer on the top. At the bottom of it will be what kind of cancer, all right? So dementia is basically a range of symptoms that encloses memory impairment or cognitive impairment. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia, and it's the most common. So you find it in 50 to 75% of persons with that type of dementia, Alzheimer's. And that's followed by vascular, like strokes, any obstruction to the vascular supply to the brain, and that's 20 to 30% of the population with that type of dementia, vascular dementia. Thirdly is Lewy body. Lewy body makes up 10 to 25% of the type of dementia, and it's the most difficult to treat, the most difficult to diagnose. Because in this particular type of dementia, the person has also symptoms of Parkinson's, and that will affect their movement disorder. So along with Alzheimer's, they also would experience symptoms of Parkinson's, so it makes it extremely difficult. The frontal temporal, 10 to 15%. You've heard of the actor Bruce Willis, was recently diagnosed with it. It's one of the worst of the probably 7 of the types. And it affects the frontal part of the brain, which enables at some point he won't be able to organize his day, his behavior will change. So it's going to be quite a difficult road moving forward. So some of the other 4 types of dementia, we mentioned Alzheimer's. It's the most common type. The vascular dementia we did mention. There's also something called a mixed dementia, and that's vascular dementia in combination with Alzheimer's. Alcoholic dementia is due to excessive drinking, and that leads to the deficiency of vitamin B12. Huntington's disease, it affects concentration and long-term memory will begin to fade. And what makes this one a little bit different from Alzheimer's is that these patients usually would remember places and names of persons even up to the late stages. Brain injury, common in football players, person who might have had a head-on injury in a car accident that would affect the brain. They often would suffer from some type of concussion, and that at some point could exhibit symptoms of Alzheimer's. We mentioned the Lewy body already to you. So there are other causes that one person or persons can exhibit the symptoms of impairment. Okay. We know that aging of the blood vessel can definitely happen, but I want to stress symptoms like depression and stress can also have those same type of symptoms. Side effects of medication, sleeping. If you're not getting enough sleep, that can also present as if you have some kind of cognitive impairment. Thyroid problems, other type of neurological diseases, as well as infection and immuno disorder. So what are some of the signs and symptoms of AD, Alzheimer's disease? Memory loss, of course, but normally would come eventually, but it's not one of the first things to happen. There's also difficulty in doing familiar tasks, like, maybe at work. You know that every morning you have to go and pick up the mail, and then all of a sudden you just start to forget. So just familiar tasks. Problems with languages, with your language, the disorientation to time and place, where you are, the day of the week, what month is it? You know, sometimes they would commonly ask these questions. There's poor or decrease in judgment, problems keeping track of things, misplacing items, like the gentleman has the key in the refrigerator here, or sometimes they can put, you know, eggs in the cabinet or you know, someplace else. Changes in mood and behavior is quite big, and it's quite common to see that in the like mid to moderate stage of the disease. Challenges in spatial information, 3D, you no longer can draw or to think in that aspect. You may see your car key and not knowing what it's for, whereas many years have passed, you know, the car key was used to start your car. Then all of a sudden you just don't know what that means. You become withdrawn from your peers. You kind of decrease your social activities. So just a quick stats. African American population is 2 times more likely to have Alzheimer's to that of the Latino population, which is 1 time likely to have Alzheimer's. This slide is kind of old. 2019, they said about 5.6 million people over the age of 65 will be living with Alzheimer's, and it will definitely increase to almost 14 million by 2050 or so. And most of the caregivers taking care of their loved ones are approximately the same age as they are. Some more statistics to share: the difference between Alzheimer's and Lewy body. Alzheimer's is very common, particularly in women, for them to develop it. To compare to the Lewy body dementia is higher in men. The median age for females is 85 years old. The median age for men is 79 with the Lewy body dementia. Alzheimer's is caused by amyloid plaque and tau tangles. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Lewy body is the most common type of dementia, and it's due to a protein called Lewy body that interferes or destroys the neurons. Quickly look at the anatomy of the brain. The brain is not colorful like this. This is only demonstration purposes only. Normally it's just a grayish color with reddish coloring that's running through. Just some orientation. This is the front of the brain, so your nose and eyes are here. We're looking at from the side of the person, okay? And this is the back of the head. The brain is composed of various parts: a frontal lobe, a temporal, occipital, cerebellum, a brainstem, and the temporal, so the fourth. Parietal lobe, occipital, cerebellum, brainstem, and temporal. This is the side. And each part of the brain has various functions. The frontal part is for thinking, speaking, as well as memory and movement. Parietal, language, touch, taste, smell. Occipital lobe is for color, letters, knowing left from right. The cerebellum is for balance and your posture, coordination of movement. The brainstem is extremely important, where the control for breathing as well as the heart rate you would find there. And most of the tracts and information that's being sent from the brain itself travel down through the spinal cord. The brainstem is a continuation of the spinal cord. The temporal lobe, extremely important. It's for hearing, language, and memory. And tucked away under the temporal lobe is the hippocampus, and that's where thinking as well as long-term, short-term memory is stored. That's where Alzheimer's, or should I say impairment, cognitive impairment starts. It's in the hippocampus. All right. So every part of the body is made up of cells, and the brain is no different. The brain is made of neurons, or they're called nerve cells. These guys are pretty healthy. I'm going to go back to that slide. They are very unusual to compare to the rest of the cells in the body. They tend to have these appendages that kind of comes off that have multiple arms that they call dendrites. And the reason for that is they communicate with other cells just like them in the brain. So you're able to translate, as well as impulses are quickly transferred from one cell to another. For instance, if you were to touch a hot surface, you quickly pull your hand back because it's hot. That's how fast the information ran from the tip of your finger to your brain and back. Once you touch the hot surface, it goes up the sensory nerve, tell the brain, hey, this guy just put his hot hand on the surface. Can you tell him to move? They translate the information, sends the information back via the motor of that's supplying the muscles in your finger to pull back. And it happens very quickly, as you know. So neurons are nerve cells, and they send and receive signals to the brain. And we have 10 billion or more of these guys, right? Healthy neurons are looking just like this, robust, happy looking, filled with nice fluid, as you can see. On your left is a healthy brain. This is the front of the brain. This is the back. This is the side that we're looking at, side view. Notice that there are no opening spaces or anything like that. That is because the neurons are healthy. They're getting the nutrients, the blood supply they need, the water that they need. They're all there. So they're plump and doing extremely well. To compare to a person that has Alzheimer's, as you can see, the brain is much smaller because it has shrunk. And it has shrunk because the neurons are dying or they're dead already. 10 billion, they're dying. Once they're dead, the brain shrinks and it becomes less space in the head. I told you about the hippocampus, where thinking starts, recall, as well as language, thoughts, etc. This is the side of the persons with Alzheimer's to that of a person that is healthy. Notice there's an increase in space. The ventricles are much larger because they're dead. All right, normal brain cross-section, normal brain, the gyrus, the sulcus, the white matter, the gray matter, the cerebral cortex, the ventricles, the hippocampus. That's a very special area that we focus on the most. All right. To compare to a person with Alzheimer's, the cells are dead. They're shrunk. They're just not there. Okay. So they're dead. They cannot carry out the functions that they need to, that we just saw in the colorful picture of the brain. Thinking, the language, knowing your friends, knowing their names, knowing what to do, as to compare to one time ago. The cerebral, the hippocampus, this. Look at the size of this. It's much thicker to compare to that. Then the cells are just no longer there. So what causes the brain cells to die? What causes brain death? Healthy brain, rambunctious, projections from the nerve cells, as you can see, to compare to that one with Alzheimer's. There are two things, or two toxic proteins that destroy these healthy neurons in the brain, or these nerve cells. One are the tau tangles and amyloid plaque. I call them obstructors because that's what they do. They obstruct the impulses of information going from one cell to another. I hit a hot surface, I need to move my finger. That information somehow is not getting to all the cells in order for me to pull back. So I'd probably be there for a while. So these obstructors, these toxic proteins, not only destroy the cells from the inside, they destroy the cells from the outside as well. The cells, as demonstrated here, are destroyed from the inside by the tau tangles. They get in there and they just twist, turn, unravel until it basically strangles the cell. The amyloid plaques destroy the cells from the outside. So they would fill in, so the cells no longer would be able to communicate with each other. This is depicts a person with, this person is probably late stage because of the masking of his face. You can see where the normal brain should be to compare to what it is right now. And it's only because the cells are dead, the neurons have died, all right? So they cannot carry out the function which they normally would. So the tangles will destroy the inside and the plaques from the outside. They will decrease communication in between cells. This is a healthy cell that's kind of still there, but it cannot communicate with this cell here because it's non-functional. This picture shows dead cells with the highlighted brown areas. They're dead neurons. So the brain will start to shrink because they no longer will take up the space. And the plaques will destroy the normal cells, as you can see. So eventually it will be looking like the rest of these cells here that are dead. These are the amyloid plaques. They destroy them from the outside. Just go in there, destroy, strangle, rips them, just basically rip them apart. The tangles just start to unravel. This is normal of the appendages that I told you about, the dendrites that communicate with the other cell. So in Alzheimer's, they unravel. So if they unravel, it's like laying pipes. If those pipes come apart, they no longer can carry information or water or whatever's going down that pipe. So that's definitely not a good thing. So what are some of the risks of Alzheimer's? Not getting enough physical exercise, cigarette smoking, excessive alcohol, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, depression, and hearing loss. That's a biggie. It's always a telltale sign that someone may have early Alzheimer's because they tend to have the hearing loss first because both of those are on the same side. Remember I told you? They're in the temporal lobe. How can we prevent it? You know, like one patient said to me, you know, I don't want it. So how can I get rid of this? I don't want to get it. My mom had it, my daddy had it. So how can I not get it? Firstly, you want to, whatever new medications that's there, you want to delay the onset or you want to slow down the progression. If you have diabetes, you want to control it, depression, high blood pressure, hyperlipidemia, you definitely need to sleep. Sleep is so important. There's two things, sleep and water. And happy water was mentioned because drinking water, 64 ounces of water a day, it detoxes the body, it detoxes the brain, it gets rid of the toxins that shouldn't be there, along with sleep. The sleep, more or less, it's like a cell phone. At some point, you need to turn it off and not hear it. You know, you don't want to hear it ring. You don't want to talk to nobody. You just want to turn it off. So sleep also detox the brain, and that's very important. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is indeed needed. Social engagement. I like this one a lot because coming home is the only place that I tend to get social engagement because they're not so really friendly here, you know, because they don't even know the neighbors. But like how you're gathering for your meetings, so forth, so on, you know, continue to do so. It definitely keep you out of that cognitive impairment group. Vitamin B12, vitamin B12 deficiency can also be taken the vitamin B12 over the counter, as well as folic acid. Again, exercise, a healthy diet, take time to unwind, and you want to definitely get some sleep. So now that you have Alzheimer's, now what do we do? The patient will go in, or we would take our loved one into the doctor's office and said, I think my mother is doting, like they would say in Nassau. And the physician will do his medical workup, and he would look for any reason that the person may be having some memory problem. If no clinical or medical problem is found, it is assumed that they probably have Alzheimer's. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Okay. So there's medication that's there. There's mind stimulating activities, therapy, particularly music, and lifestyle changes can also help in the treatment. There are no new medications approved by the FDA since 2003. But right now, there are two medications that they would use most commonly, Aricept and Namenda, and they will temporarily help with memory and thinking. They do not treat the underlying cause of Alzheimer's disease. All right, we talk about the plaque and we talk about the tangle. That's the underlying disease. So those two medications are temporary symptoms only at the moment. I am very proud to say, as a Bahamian, that I participate in this drug coming to the market, the Aldaham, and it's an IV medication for Alzheimer's, and it's given, once a month, but a lot goes into it. This medication is a whopping 60 grand a year, 60,000. There's another one that's also on the market that's 87,000 a year. And what it does is it decreases the progression of those tangles and amyloid plaques. Okay, the ones I showed you. So if it decreased the progression of them getting any worse or increasing in numbers, it would then increase the cognitive ability of the person. All right, but it's just trying to get it where it's more affordable for everybody. This Aldaham approved by the FDA, at least part of it approved by the FDA, because part of it we're still doing presently. It is for mild cognitive impairment to mild AD. They wouldn't say that. They would say, oh, it's the treatment for Alzheimer's. But there's stages of Alzheimer's. It's the same thing with the Aricept as well as the Namenda. It's for mild to moderate or severe. Okay, very important. So brain health, what do we do? How healthy is your brain? Control the hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, manage all of those. You manage those comorbidities, it decreases the risk for developing Alzheimer's. All right. You say, well, my dad had it, my mom had it, so I'm definitely going to have it. But if you were to do a genotype or a gene type, you may found to have out of the 4 that the gene type that you're carrying, you may not develop it. The gene type that you're carrying, APOE 4, you definitely for sure will develop it, but it depends. I am working on trying to bring that blood test to the Bahamas. I was yesterday for somebody, but let's see how it goes. So whatever you eat, healthy wise, brain wise.
Dr. Clark?
Yes.
Yes, how much more time do you need? Because we have a time constraint. There are persons who need to get to work. So we try to.
I'm done.
Within. You're done? Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm going to end it right there. There you go.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you have time for maybe one question, any burning question that you must ask this morning? The or online? Okay, you have a question? Only one.
I have
Because
a
time is
question.
going.
The drug that basically said it will only help mild cases, I see it's $40,000 a year. Is there any way that the cost of that may come down?
Yeah, that's what they're working on right now. You know, the pharmaceutical company, they are the only one that has it on the market. So of course, they definitely want to make money. They want to make it affordable so that patients who are Medicare, Medicaid recipients that can afford it, because they are the ones that need it the most. Yeah, at some point, they're working on it. The price, they're working on it. Yeah.
Dr. Clark, I want to thank you. I don't want to rush.
Okay, I want to find out, Dr. Clark, have you done, has any studies been done with individuals who may have been dieting during their early childhood years, not childhood, but early adult years? And is there any correlation between their lifestyle and dementia?
Oh, yeah. Definitely, for sure. Because what they present with now, because of their childhood, they were only fed what their parents gave them. All right.
Childhood, but you know, early childhood, early adult, teenagers, you know, everybody's into dieting and weight loss and all of these different drugs. But I want to know some of that would cause dementia at a later age stage in life.
Yes. Yes, it can, particularly obesity. It can definitely leads to Alzheimer's. Diabetes, hypertension, yeah. At the stage in which they are at their teenage age and it's not controlled, it will. Mhm. In fact, diabetes, Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes.
Dieting, people who take diet pills and diet drugs and those kinds of things, have they been linked to Alzheimer's?
Not that I'm aware of. These diet drugs and diet pills, they're temporary. They will only, once you start to take them, they will only last for six weeks, and that's it. It goes away. You continually doing so. But the medication itself has effect. I do not know of them having any effect on a person to develop Alzheimer's, because there's so many theories that we're looking at that can cause Alzheimer's. We possibly can get it from the plaque of our teeth. We have a study now that we're doing that's looking at the plaque of our teeth to see if these tangles and plaques are coming from basic stuff, our environment. Who knows?
Yeah, so Dr. Clark, the information you have shared this morning is so important and so timely. It's one of the focus for Rotary District 7020. One of the projects we're working on as a club is to build this awareness. So we recorded a part 1 of a documentary that we plan to air on Alzheimer's. And I just want to ask publicly if we could follow up with you on an interview to be recorded, and probably focusing more on the treatment, that part of the presentation that we didn't get to go deep into this morning. And perhaps you could tell us more about the drug and so on. So we'll make contact with you and we see how we can, I think you're overseas, right? So maybe it could be a virtual interview, but we'd love to add this very important information and very interesting study to the documentary so that Bahamians can be well informed and be.
Yes, and also at least once a month, I'll be coming to Nassau to do memory screening. I was there this past weekend where I did memory screening for persons over the age of 55.
Oh, awesome. We need to do labs with that and Rotary so we can help to get this information out. So we'll be in touch with you. going to ask PEC now to come and say an official thank you. We have a gift for you. So when you come to Nassau, we want to make sure that we get it to you for being our speaker this morning.
Good morning, Dr. Clark. Good morning, fellow Rotarians and guests. Dr. Clark, just on behalf of the Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise, would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to you for getting up this early in the morning. We know it's a challenge for some people, but we thank you so much. We really learned a lot from your speech. Just the difference between where Alzheimer's fit in under the umbrella of dementia and some of the things we can do to help to slow it or delay it. But thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Okay, thank you.
So this topic always get a lot of interactions. Thank you. All right, I now invite PhD Karen to come and do the raffle. I'm inviting the newest Rotarian in the room, Caroline, to come and show the raffle.
Anybody who comes to me after we tell it. That was online. Only number 64, Carol.
Oh, it's online. It's so sorry, Dino. Sorry, Felix. 602779, and that is tomorrow. Sure, tomorrow.
God is good.
All right, so
Now, remember,
we
Dr.
have.
Clark said we need socialization. We need to come to meetings in person.
Okay, guys, we have just 5 minutes to the end of the meeting. I pray your indulgence. I believe PP Francis has a quick announcement. Also, see here posted in the chat, the 25th, this Saturday, we'll be having our reading cafe. It's online. If you're a Rotarian, please go to the chat and check out that notice.
So good morning, fellow Rotarians and guests. I just want to share with you all an amazing gift that we have received as a club, a gift of 200 Bingo Deluxe Quick Player Jam-Proof cards. 200.
Yeah.
So, courtesy of one of our generous members, we no longer have to look for those little things that we put on the cards. It is right here. So, Sophia, the next time we have a bingo game,
we need to get together on Saturday.
Whether it is for fundraising or social, we can actually accommodate 200 persons. Each one will get a card. Amazing, eh?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. On another matter, some weeks ago, Father Palacios made an appeal to the membership on behalf of the scholarship committee. I am eager to say that we now have an account designated for scholarship funds. So I'm reminding you to please make donations to this account in support of the scholarship fund. The treasurer has the account number, so you can sit at your desk and make those donations. Thank you all.
Francis and I'm sorry? Yes, Father, I believe I saw privately.
Is he still there?
He was saying that he didn't remember today was Thursday, so he was an Alzheimer.
I'm here. Don't talk bad about me now.
Please check the WhatsApp group, Father P. I'm told to. There's a message for you. There's a message for you. All right, guys. So let's be upstanding as we invite PhD Karen to come forward and do the forward test. Oh, Felix.
I'm going to forward this.
Sorry, Carol. Oh, Carol. Sorry. Sorry, PP Arrow. Sorry, PP Arrow.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Look like you need to touch the cool here.
To do our final toast. We have 2 minutes to go. Just want to remind you guys, if you haven't paid your dues yet, time is winding down. Please pay your dues, contact me or Karen. So we can get your dues in ahead of the end of this Rotary year. And so I now would like KG Karen to our turn.
Okay, I'd like to invite you to raise your cups, mugs, glasses, or beautiful tumblers. To Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Dr. Clark. We'll get your gift to your friend, your childhood friend one, and in town. Let's get together. Thank you, everyone. Meeting minutes is our journey.
Have a good day, everyone.
Great day.
Great day.
Yeah.